Buddy? Buddy? Buddy?
What?
It's Carmy. Okay, hold on. Gallery view. Oh, okay. So do you hear that? That bitty boo.
No.
Oh, perfect. I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons in a little bit.
I know. Tell me about that. Virtual Dungeons and Dragons?
So we're just going to do it over Zoom because this is the new world order. And we've just got our character sheets and yeah, we're just going to play. In this game, I am playing a cleric of Thor. So I am a disciple of Thor, and I call down lightning and rain it down on my enemies.
Are some of your enemies also playing the game?
No. Those are my pals. No, we're a band of brothers and sisters, and we fight, evil elves and goblins. And right now we're on the moon with some owls, so.
I gotta tell you, I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories this week. This one sounds the best.
It's so much better.
This is what's happening in the world. Yeah.
It is, and we're gonna save it. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you. Okay, I'll get my wits about me to be a fleggling new sprite. Can I be a sprite? Is that a thing I could be?
You could be like a half-elf druid, which is like you're connected to nature. You're really good with animal handling. You've got some magic.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Accurate. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
I'm glad we got it out of the way.
Rachel Facio from Aspire Therapeutic Services, which she is offering in this time remote sessions. She specializes in couples relationship therapy, but also deals with post-traumatic stress, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
And
she can probably handle Glendale. Yeah, she can probably handle it all. So if you're having some, if you're stressing out about this whole thing that's going down, check her out. Might be a great time to start therapy. And we had such a wonderful conversation about how that ties into finances.
The highlights that I'm going to tease right now and the seconds before people get to see the actual conversation is simply the miraculous decision she made at 18 to purchase life insurance and how that taught her about investing in her own life, but also how she had learned from a young age from her mom. We talk about relationships to money and how they started, and then how money affects relationships. I'm excited to hear more.
So good. That's great. You really got some good bullet points. And she's just like a lovely and fun human being. So I think you guys will enjoy this quite a bit.
Here we go.
Should we do it?
Amazing. Mwah, amazing.
You sound amazing too, like a pizza pie.
Like a pizza. Is that an
perfect
empty
cup? There is a little vodka with coffee.
Oh, great.
Just kidding. So for 3 days, I'm not drinking because I'm stuck at home, and I'm like, I'll just do it all day if I start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what you mean. No.
Yeah, I've seen you.
No. Yeah.
I've seen you with your pineapple backs.
Can't stop, won't stop. You have another.
Don't stop.
What else do you drink? What do you do? Can you focus? Okay. Oh my God.
Hi, Rachel. So
I miss you.
I miss you too.
Okay, no, be serious.
It's not going to be a serious podcast. It's too late for that. There's no way I'd be able to do that.
No.
Okay, so this is what I want to know. First, who are you for people that don't know who you are?
I'm Rachel Facio. When I'm not pretending to follow your direction, Harnovo body classes, I'm a therapist in Glendale, Aspire Therapeutic Services. I'm in private practice.
That's amazing. Do you have like a specific specialty for anyone that is looking for a therapist?
Yes, I specialize in couples intimacy, so all that awkward sex stuff that you're avoiding talking to your partner about right now. You pay me to talk about it, and then we fix it, and then you have better sex, better relationships, better. So yeah, I specialize a lot in couples and trauma and first responders. So like ER, nurses,
really?
police officers. Yeah.
Wow. Ty is a paramedic, but he doesn't seem to have too much PTSD. which is
From you,
interesting.
yeah, that's good.
From me, he has more, probably.
I can't see him. It's a conflict of interest, but thanks, thanks for
Oh
thinking of me.
man, come
Yeah,
on,
that would be
please.
weird.
Yeah,
No,
that
it would
would
be
be weird.
super weird.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Part of the reason I want to have you on here is because, hold on, let me just
Is that full of egg yolks?
frozen mango, which is like little ice cubes slash mango pieces. It's not ice cubes, it's mangoes.
You're so extra. Like it's just not like normal people would be like, oh, let me get this water, or like let me get my hydro flask, and you're like, I have frozen mango. Yeah, I can't.
You gotta have the fancy things in life. At least I do, clearly.
We're in a government pandemic shutdown, and you are drinking mango ice cubes. I just need to.
That's true. Okay, so the part of the reason I want to have you on here, we are in the middle of a pandemic. So if you could fix all of us, that would be great.
On it.
Okay, perfect. The other thing is, I know that money affects people emotionally and couples emotionally. Yeah. And so I just wanted to have you ever had anyone with money issues ever?
I don't think anyone comes in without money issues. I think we all have money ish individually, and then whatever you carry into the relationship or the marriage. So I think everybody has money stuff. Like I think you don't know you have money stuff until someone's like, hey, you have money stuff, whether it's you love to put everything on a credit card, or you're a saver, or you're a spender, or you're frugal with some stuff, and then other things you don't mind like blowing in a huge amount of money. So every single person, I have money stuff, you have money stuff.
I
It's
don't.
everywhere. Yes, you do. You 100%
No.
you do. Yes.
No, I don't.
Yep.
No.
You do. You're in denial. That's the first stage. Don't worry about it. We'll
This
get
is
there.
good. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll break
We'll get
through.
there.
See, I have the same thinking when I tell people this is a money podcast. They're like, "Oh, cool." They're like so
They're like, I'm straight. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not interested.
Yeah. I have a 401k. I'm fine.
But I think it does affect everybody. I think it's really important.
I think value is really tied to this, right? Like for women especially, I think we feel like there's shortcoming, right? Like we don't bring value to the table in a lot of ways around blatant explicit money conversations, so we have to navigate that and find that in a different way. And I think that's BS. I think that women know a lot more than they think about money, and it's just maybe typically a boys only playing field. And I think the last maybe like 10 years has really shown a change in that. But I think there's a lot of us still carry that stuff. That whole kind of phrase, like leaning in, like lean in and lean out, like lean into the discomfort. I think that's super true with money and with women, and finding value and how they contribute to that conversation, as well as like their own Benjamins.
I agree with you. And I've always been very interested in money. So from my perspective, it is a very women thing, but I don't think that's true across the board.
Oh, so you're saying like you've been like involved with a bunch of women and money? Okay, that sounds bad. Let me rephrase that. Have you found it common that women in your life have been able to talk about money and accessible in their money financial fitness?
That's interesting because the answer is no.
Okay.
But because I'm a woman, I just assume that it's like a woman topic. But the other thing is my mom was very good with money. My dad was very good at making money, but my mom was she was the one that showed me how to do investments. She did this really cool allowance thing where she'd give us she was a super badass and a feminist, and so all that info came from my mom. And my dad gave me tons of support in a lot of ways, but my financial education really came from my mom.
And then did you find it easily carry over into your relationships?
No.
Yeah, that's the game changer.
Yeah. No, that's hard, right? How do you navigate that with your partner or whatever?
Well, I think that's when it kind of the money-ish comes up, because if you're like, I have this really strong financial background from my mom and I feel super confident about this, blah blah, and then Ty's like, for example, no, this is how we did it in my family, or I was the one that's in charge of investing, all of a sudden your value has shifted. And I think there's a lot of women that then feel like that's inaccessible, especially if their partner makes more than they do, or is contributing in a way that's obvious, like monetarily, like I make more money, I pay the bills, you stay home with kids, or you work part-time. All of a sudden the money stuff is like icky or hard to talk about. Yeah, I think the game changer is the relationship if you haven't had a good foundation from your parents, which sounds like you have, which is great.
Yeah. I've had it both ways where I've had guys that want to
Of course you have.
Hey. I've had it where like guys are very spendy and more spendy than me, and it really stresses me out, like guys that are all about like the nice car, nice stuff, which is like which is really irritating to me. That's like a big thing that makes me really angry. Or like Ty is very useful. He loves tools, but tools are very expensive. And we've spent like thousands, like tens of thousands of dollars on tools, which are useful, but it makes me so anxious and it's created a lot of tension. And then I've also, when I was younger, I've dated terrible people because they made so much more money than me, you know? So it's come up in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Word to your mom. Yes.
Same with you, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think that some of my past decisions haven't been great. But, you know, I think that's because, okay, when you're young, right, like in your early 20s, especially, it's not like you and your girlfriends are getting together for happy hour. At least my girlfriends weren't. We're like, let's talk about opening up, you know, like a 403B. Like, let's look at, you know, whole term life insurance. Like, there's just such, I don't know whether it's a believability that like we just don't need to focus on those things or someone else is going to focus on that for us. I think it's also just a lack of exposure to that information. I mean, I think I was telling you this story that I was literally picking up a textbook in University of Hawaii, Manoa, whoop, whoop, and I was waiting to, they had it combined with like a Kinko's. And so you're waiting there to get like the copy of the textbook. And there's this bookshelf and we're in a long line and it says smart women finish rich. And my first thought is some POS like patriarchal man wrote this book and it's going to be BS and it's so dumb. Let me just, you know, because I'm obviously better and don't need any of this knowledge. And I pick it up and the first couple lines were the biggest mistake women make is waiting to get financially smart, financially fit about money, their goals, retirement. Here's how to fast track all that. And I was just like
yes,
100%. And so and I'm just like, oh my God, the book was like $5.99. The author has like redone it like a bunch of times, but it's
David
honestly,
Bach, I think.
Yeah. Changed my life. I started reading things. I was like, I had no idea these things existed. I had no idea there was a way that they could be broken down, because that's what's always been really intimidating for me is, oh, you want to invest? Do you like short positions? Are you into mutual funds? I'm sorry, what? Like I
don't
no
even
idea.
know what a short position is. And I've done stock investing for, I don't even know what that is.
It's bananas. Don't even worry about it.
Really
but
don't.
But it's kind of like, I don't know, this book all of a sudden made me feel like a club that wasn't for me, or like that was too adult, or that was just a man's world, whatever it was like, no, that's BS. And it's actually going to hurt you later. Here's all the ways to break it down. Here's really simple ways to break it down. And I think there's also a shame or embarrassment factor because I didn't know what all those things were called. I didn't know how to invest. I don't know. I was just so intimidated that this book was like, let me break it down for you. Super simple. Here's the stuff you need to worry about. Don't worry about this other stuff. And it gave you like a small roadmap and gave me the tetas to go and actually make like a first appointment with like a financial advisor at like, I think I was 18 or 19 years old.
And you bought whole life insurance, which
yes,
is like
I bought universal
crazy
life
balls.
Insurance, preferred status. Boop, boop.
Yes.
Locked that in. Yeah, I think I was 19 when I got that policy.
Nobody does that when they're 19 years old. First of all, I think it's really easy to depend on men for money because it's just they're seen as breadwinners, right? There's this Farnoosh Zarabi. She has this podcast. It's called So Money with Farnoosh. Very successful. She's very smart and she's very out about the fact that she is the breadwinner in her relationship. Very out. Like she has a picture next to her husband and they both have a plate and her stack of bread is like up here and his is down here.
I love it.
It's so amazing. But part of me is like, it's almost like there's still shame. Like I'm almost like, oh, I wonder if he's so embarrassed, you know?
100%.
Like
100,000,000%. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I think that that's still true even today and right now. Like we are really seeing regardless, like your career as women, I think it's going to come secondary to a male's career, even if they're making less than you. Mm-hmm. It's still to defer to that. And I think even outing that in relationships is really, really important to kind of correct that power differential from the beginning. Like, hey, I may make $20,000 a year, you make 80, but what's our life going to look like? Because the value you assign to your money stuff and your money expectations is, I think, really important. It's not just, you know, your man makes 80, and, you know, obviously we're talking about like heterosexual relationships, but your man makes 80, you make 40. So that means things have to be a certain way. I also think couples get caught in that trap. Like, no, what value am I assigning to this like salary differential? That's what I think also is unsaid. And so when couples are in my office, they're kind of like, oh, I didn't realize I was operating on that bias. Like, yeah, we all do. And got to like untangle it and make it not so awkward to talk about, because it's charged too. People get really upset or embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, I think it's deep, like it's just deep rooted into our culture and the way we grew up and our parents and seeing all of that. And it's like those conversations you have before you're like deep into a relationship. It's like, oh, I wanted kids and we got married and my partner doesn't want kids or whatever. It's like, if your partner is like, you're going to stay home and watch the kids and maybe work part-time, and that wasn't your plan, it could be a disaster in relationships because both
100%.
people will be miserable.
Do you, like, I'll ask couples this, like, do you have an early memory around money, like a money memory?
I was going to ask you.
Oh, okay. Who wants to go first?
I do. Well, I do. Okay. Well, you should go. I'll go, and then you can expand more on yours. I'll do a short one. My mom had, and I've brought this up before, but my mom had like this little paper book, and it was like lined paper inside. It was a 3-ring binder. It doesn't matter. But she had 3 columns. Yeah. She had 3 columns, and she'd give me like, let's say $2. She'd give us like $6 a week. Mm-hmm. $2 was for short-term savings. So that was like if I wanted to get candy, or something. $2 was for long-term savings. So if I wanted to buy a Barbie or a bike or something, and I had to get that money from her. Like it wasn't immediately accessible to me. And then there was like charitable giving.
Dude, your mom is OG.
She was a beast, dude. She taught me all about stocks.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah, she was amazing.
And that's like classic setting yourself up for amazingness, like the 3 baskets, like short-term, low risk, middle. Oh, that's amazing. So that like really stuck with you.
Oh yeah. 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 And she was the one, I think she's the one that like, she taught me about Vanguard. She opened a Roth IRA for us when we had our first jobs when we were 18, and like let us like keep the money, or she was just basically like paid for everything because we lived under her roof. Mm-hmm. Maybe I was 16, but any money that we made, she put into our Roth IRA. It's crazy, right?
Badass. That's really cool.
Yeah. Very fortunate and lucky.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about you?
My mom was a single mom. And so even when my mom married my stepdad, money, I don't know, she really dived into my head early that like, you're the only person that you can depend on. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get the 3 basket model. She just really kind of made super explicit that like, you are always going to be the person that you can only depend on yourself. It doesn't regardless. So when I got pulled over for going, you know, like 75 and a 50 off Canaan with 3 of my friends and a provisional license, oops, and that ticket was $800, my mom was like, you need to figure it out. Wow. So at 15 and a half or 16, when I had to get a worker's permit, she made me pay off every dime of that ticket. And so I remember like opening at Starbucks at 4:30 in the morning and then going to school or like working after school. And it really taught me, like, even in trouble and my parents were there, like I really needed to just depend on myself. Yeah, she was like, I need you to feel every inch of earning this back, because ultimately, and oh my God, I remember this so clearly. She's like, money at the end of the day doesn't have emotion. She's like, it's there. You have a debt or you have it, you know, saving, like you're working on it. I was like, she's like, but the money doesn't matter. Like anything's going through your life, it really doesn't matter. It's either you need to pay that debt or you save it and can purchase something, but that's regardless of what's going on in your life. There's like no emotion in money. It is what it is. And I was just like, Damn, girl, I still got to pay that $800 by myself. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, but that sucks. And she was like, it doesn't matter. It's still there. Like, it can suck. You still need to pay it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really like and it's helped me make so many financial decisions now, especially kind of like climbing corporate career ladders and stuff like that, like asking for raises or feeling like here's what I feel like I deserve, and not because I feel like, oh, I'm awesome, like here literally are facts, and not being afraid of like competing with coworkers or offending friends, because I think women do that a lot, like that emotion, and like having that drilled in my head that like there's no emotion in money.
Yeah.
It's very simple. It's there or it's not there.
Wow.
So that kind of just like really set me on a good course and probably hardened me a little bit.
Yeah, isn't that amazing though? I mean, it's so hard to say no to your kids. I can imagine. I'm going to be terrible at that. But like making you pay off $800 is a lot of money.
Yeah, it was like 5 tickets in one. The cop didn't write me like one of the violations because there was no room on the ticket.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Yeah, that's a different podcast.
Yeah, no, but I love it. No, bring it. Bring it, girl. This is supposed to be a blend of life and whatever. Because it's supposed to be, money isn't like a one size fits all thing.
No, it's not.
But you're right that it's not an emotional thing, right? There's no excuses. You just got to do what you got to do. And there's nothing like getting up at 4:30 in the morning that's going to like.
Yeah, hungover.
Yeah, that's going to teach you.
Taught me real quick. But isn't it funny how money, I think, triggers so many of our emotions? Like whether you, you find out Ty bought a $1,200 hammer, or do you know what I mean? Like, or
you do a lot of construction.
Obviously. Do you see these cuticles? We are just worked out to the bone, dry.
Oh, yeah. Whew.
I don't go outside if you can't notice.
Your delicate skin can't handle it.
I'm the color of the pillow.
You are the color of the pillow. That's sweet. Just a little pinker.
Just a little, oh.
But not much.
That's not a compliment.
And not like rosacea, like just kind of like.
What if some of your subscribers have rosacea? That's racist.
I have rosacea. Except
do you?
I have makeup on. No, but I have pretty bad rosacea. It runs in my family. Oh my God.
That makes
Is it racist? Okay. Which race has rosacea? Bring it. Bring it. We're keeping this.
This whole thing was so good. But yeah, I think though that what you said, like there's no emotion in money, and I said I think it's funny though, because all of a sudden it will feel super emotional. It will feel like icky or scary or shameful or embarrassing. I don't know. So I don't know. What do you think turns that, like flicks that switch?
I don't know, because I'm super emotional about money. I'm really like, well, I have to, you know what? And I've said this before, I have to do gratitude lists for what I have, because I can get very into what I have not, because I want to amass a bunch of money and like do whatever I want with my life. And so it's easy to go from having a good life to constantly looking at where I want to be in life and feeling like I'm nowhere, even though I've made great strides, because I'm not counting all the strides that I've made so far. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're saying like money, if you look too far ahead forward, it doesn't feel like you're grateful for like where you came, like you can't connect with like the progress that you have made. And so it's like the not good enough. Like you keep like, oh no, I've got to be doing more because I want to live this way.
Yeah.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, and also my partner and I are very different with money. For me, I want to do everything the cheap way. And for him, he wants to do everything the hard way, like the hard, expensive, like this will last forever. I mean, our furniture is made out of walnut slabs and concrete, and we built them ourselves. Like he did most of the building and I did most of the staining and finishing.
Whoa.
Yeah, it took us like 6 months to make all the furniture for our Airbnb out of concrete and walnut slabs. And we bought all these tools and stuff, and we had just bought a house, so we had no money.
That's so
like he's so different than me. I'm like, let's slap some IKEA stuff together and make a good profit margin. You know what I mean?
But he's thinking wear and tear, long term, like sustainability. So then I'll play devil's advocate with you. I'll therapize you. So when it's not, when you guys are butting heads, how do you deal with it? Like whose way do you compromise and glean towards?
we compromise towards his way. He has all his tools and all his.
But
I just do my shavasanas and whatever. That's a great question. It's maybe not worth the effort, or maybe it's, we both are, I think we both also are, we have the same long-term goal in mind. We both want to like buy real estate and invest in properties and retire within the next 5 to 10 years. Like we have that together.
Okay.
So he's not spendy. It's just on these this one thing. You know what I mean?
Got it. So you're like, as long as the long term, you guys are in synchrony about the long term, you're cool if you don't get to some of these like milestones the same way. Like you can compromise. Does he ever compromise on your end? Is he ever like down to go buy like an IKEA 9-foot table?
Sometimes he will get IKEA stuff, but the other thing is he hates that I buy like coffee and like I know, but he doesn't start fights with me. He's also much more easygoing than I am.
Yeah, you are high maintenance, 100%. Yeah.
I totally, like, he'll just go all day without eating rather than buying food out, because he has the mentality of growing up with not as much money, and like you don't spend
mentality.
Like going to the airport. I'm like, we've got like 5 hours at the airport. Our plane was delayed. Do you want to grab food? And he's like, we never bought food at the airport. And I'm just like, what? We're on vacation. Let's go eat at the airport. Let's go get a $12 beer. You know what I mean? Like,
number one, I have to pause you. I can't believe you get excited about eating at the freaking airport. Like, sorry. Like, that's just gross. It's so disgusting.
It is gross.
It's really disgusting. Like, you're like, hey, let's eat at the airport. Like, I'm sorry. I'm all with Ty. Not on a scarcity mentality, but that shit's gross. As you drink your mango ice cubes.
That's right. Bougie.
Bougie. Take me to Wolfgang Puck at LAX in
Hell
Terminal.
Yeah.
Oh, $9 Hershey bar.
I mean, we're on the same page that I'm going on a flight, right? I'm not saying like, let's go to the airport for dinner.
Oh, I wasn't clear. Of course. Oh my God.
I'm saying if we're going on a flight, he's like,
I don't know. Lucky man. Liza lucky. Thank you for pointing that out, because I also don't think the listeners at home really understood that you were going to an airport to get on a plane.
I think they got it. They didn't. Nobody's listening to this. Maybe a few of your clients will.
Subscribers.
Boom.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
And after this, you'll have 5. So it's fun.
Thank you.
But I think you did say something important, which was that Ty, when Ty was like, oh, I didn't grow up like that. Like we didn't eat at airports when I was younger. Because like family of origin stuff, like how you grew up and the money messages you had, money memories are huge. That even if they don't make sense now, you're like, look, we're banking on Benjamins, like, ooh, living our best lives. We can't afford a $9 Coca-Cola at the airport. The stuff that you had as a child, the stuff that, and I'm not like, oh my God, what happened to you as a kid is the reason you are the way you are. But it definitely makes sense, because it's not like those memories or those examples or your lessons are constantly like tested in the present. It's just, that's how you grew up. You had some emotions and some experiences like shoved onto them, and then you packed it away, but you don't realize you're actually operating from those examples. So it's funny that he's just like, no, we just didn't do that. Like, I think a lot of us make decisions about money like that because we kind of just repeat what we know.
Yeah. Like there's these triggers that we don't see.
Yes.
And then we don't understand why we're upset.
Yeah. Or why we're fighting so hard for them. Well, it's like, I just don't spend money. And it's like, but why? Like you feel that fervor and really like battling your partner, I think, over it, or even battling yourself. And you don't realize like where it's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Straight up.
Anyway, see you. I'm just kidding. I wanted to go back to because I had the thing to say about David Bach in that book, when your mom told you like, nobody's coming for you. It's you against the world. My mom was kind of the same way as a feminist, like no man's gonna like, I don't know. She just was very like, you've got to be strong, like you've got to do this yourself. And I think it's affected both of us in that we take responsibility for our own financial health. Like even like Ty makes okay money, but I have a situation where, like, if Ty were to flee, which he's not going to,
like
knock on solid wood.
The country.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or wherever. Like,
we might need to learn what else Ty does, but okay, go with it. I'm listening.
When he has to flee to Cancun, I could support this life by myself.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm not willing to part with that, even if we got married. And what David Bach says in that smart women finish rich or whatever, is that women have a longer life expectancy than men.
Yep.
And then it's like, you're an older woman, your husband passes away, then what? Do you even know?
I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to the Caribbean.
Well, you are, because you have the money.
I'm going to Monte Carlo. I will be the hottest 70-year-old. Like,
you will.
Oh my God,
you're gonna look exactly the same with your vodka shots and pineapple box.
100%, yes.
Pineapple Bach.
Yeah.
Pineapple, yes.
But I think you're right. Like we not only we live longer, like there is a almost to like a community tribe mentality that also, I think, if your man, God forbid, does die early, job loss, things like that, I think women, or divorce, right?
Oh yeah.
Divorce is up to 60, I think, percent.
It's a lot
right now. Yeah. And so
you can pretty much count on it.
Yeah. There's a hard work. Oh, silver lining. While everything's going down in the world, guys, Sarah Purdom says you could almost count on your relationship failing. Back to you.
I hope everyone feels uplifted, because that was my intention.
Yep. And now,
not that phrase, but the whole thing.
Yeah. And then drink your privileged mango ice cubes.
Mm-hmm. They'll never leave you because they're frozen.
No, but when those big cataclysmic things happen, I also think, especially women that are not in long-term relationships anymore, or they get divorced, they're like, oh shit, can my skill set kind of ride out the financial lifestyle that I've created? I'm not talking about anything fancy. Like, can you pay rent? Like, can you pay bills? Can you take care of your fur babies or your real babies? And what does that look like now that you're not doing that together? Having a skill set that you not only had before these major relationships, but that you continue to utilize and sharpen in some way, shape, or form in the relationship, really gives you a better chance of, God forbid, something going down or changing, whether that's because, Zeus struck someone down, or because because you chose not to be in that relationship anymore. Like, you've got to be able to rely on yourself to make that money. And I think messaging gets really cloudy there, especially being a female. Like, well, if you're a good mom, then you should be mom 24/7. If you're a good wife, you should work less so your man can work more. Like,
or if you don't want to work, you don't have to.
Yes.
Which is like true, but also have something. Have an idea.
Side hustle. Have a little side game going. Not like you need to. There's no shame in staying home and raising kids, because that is legit work. One child is equivalent to 2.5 full-time jobs.
I'm not surprised. I feel very bad for the people who are quarantined right now.
We don't want to hear it. We don't need your pity. You know what? We need your babysitting. Yeah.
Well,
so
I don't want to get any COVID-19 from any.
You're full of COVID. So we don't need your pity. Okay. We need
I'll just stay over here. Yeah, seriously.
Stay on your.
That's very true.
World until then.
I think kids are just going to get a lot of good TV time. My friend's kids, it's like noon. Her kids are on their second movie, and good for them.
Good for them.
I'm not even going to talk about parenting because I don't know anything about it. No. Let me
go back.
Clop on backwards with my little horsey feet. You talked about asking for raises and stuff. I'm very uncomfortable asking people for any money if they come to me for training or anything. I have one friend that's like $125, and if she doesn't want to do it, she's like $225 for 45 minutes. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like is $20 okay? Like, I get very weird about asking people to part with their money. How do you justify asking for a raise and all these things? I just said it in a really weird way, because I think people should ask for what they are worth.
Right? Because even the language is loaded, right? Like, how do you justify? Like, that's a passive way of even talking about your worth.
See?
Two things. One, when I was working in like a corporate atmosphere, I think that I really valued looking back, like other women that were older than me, watching them kind of not be afraid to say, hey, this is what I'm worth. Like, these are the things I've done. This is what I've brought to the company. And I've been really fortunate enough to have like two bosses in corporate America kind of show what you bring to the table, but in your way. So like, hey, I've been at the company 7 years. This is all the things I've done. I also juggle a family because I think there's pressure to leave the fact that you're pregnant, you're having a baby, whatever it is. Like,
yes.
Actually, it's a strength. I've done all these things. And that's why I feel like I shouldn't get a 2% raise. I should get a 7% raise. And then the other thing that I was taught super early by my old boss, who's a chiropractor in Encino, Atlas Healthcare Center, get at it. He told me, he was like, you're never ever going to lose anything by asking for something. He's like, what's the worst thing that could happen? And I was just like, huh? He's like, literally, if you ask me right now for $100,000, what's the worst thing that could happen? And I was like, that you could say no. And he was like, actually, the worst thing that could happen if you didn't ask me was that you never had the opportunity and you could have walked out with $100,000.
Wow.
I was just like, can I have $100,000? He's like, no, but I'm super glad you asked. And I was just like, got it. But it's true. Like,
That's
that really
amazing.
stuck with me. He's like, and then this is when he really like drove it in. He was like, it's like, you should be in a Ferrari and you're literally walking around driving a tricycle.
Wow.
Like, when you don't ask for something that you think you deserve, when just by not asking, you take yourself out of the game completely. And so it doesn't matter how much you know your worth, you're not showing it in like your actions and your behavior. So he's like, by not asking, you're just not even in the discussion. You're not even in the conversation. So I think those two things really like kind of solidified in like a more corporate thing. And then working independently, I found a money person, not like a money guru, like not someone I paid, but like a friend that was just more secure in their money stuff than me to kind of hold me accountable. Like when I was figuring out rates with clients and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I don't know, I only want to charge this. And they were like, no, this is why you should charge this because of A, B, and C. Like, I needed that accountability from someone else in a different, and I think what's important is to make it explicit. Like, I went to my friend Lorena and I was like, I'm struggling with money. I need to talk to you about money. Not like, oh, let's also talk about our husbands. Let's also talk, like, let's sit down on purpose. And I just want to talk to you about my money stuff. Hugely different than just like kind of chatting with like a girlfriend. It's like really being explicit that I have complicated feelings around this, because then we're giving attention to the thing that has so much embarrassing, shameful stigma already.
That's so great. There's a lot of like things in my life that I have not been able to do without an accountability buddy with a singleness of purpose of like, you are my buddy for this. You're not just my pal, but like we are both going to try to exercise more. We're going to try to keep each other accountable with like food journals or whatever. And you have a reason that you are there and a reason that you're talking. And if like something else comes in, whatever, but it's, you both have a reason to be there.
Yeah, like you're bringing it to the light. Like, I think things stay taboo when we keep them in the dark. And I'm like, oh, I don't really, I have money stuff, so I can't talk about my fee. And it's like, no, let's talk about it. Bring it into the light, sit in the discomfort, that gray area, and like, let's really get into it. I think we avoid that. We want it to just be a yes or no. I'm bad at money. I'm good at money. And it's like, no, like, it's okay to be in the middle and like hang in there with somebody and talk about it. It doesn't need to be like, oh, now I can go invest in like, Morgan Stanley, or I can go open. No, like, that's not the point. It's to get more comfortable around it and then make some good decisions.
Yeah. It's good to know that we're all on a journey and that we're not like,
it's all about the journey,
it's
man.
not being perfect. Yes, bro.
Journey. Yeah.
You're talking about asking for $100,000 brought up. That's very in real estate investing. A lot of times people have really good ideas, or they're good at managing properties, or they're good at finding properties, but they don't have the cash to back it up. And a lot of times if you're like, there's no way I can buy a house, or there's no way I can whatever, our Airbnb, I had 40 grand saved up and I was like, that's enough to buy a house in LA.
What?
I know it's a lot. But
Oh, in LA
not
market?
even close.
Nothing.
Hell no, nothing. It's
No.
nothing. And I had no idea. So I'm like, oh yeah, let's go look for houses, whatever. Boom, boom, boom. And then we got into like, we found a house that we loved that was perfect for an Airbnb to like rent out rooms and stuff. And it was going to like change our lives. And we talked to a lender. We had been talking to like a shadier lender before who was like, yeah, you can afford anything you want. And then we talked to a real lender and they're like, you can't even afford half that house. And I remember my mom being the stand on your own 2 feet, be whatever. I called her and I was like, I never would have, unless I had this vision of like what I really wanted, kind of like asking for a raise. I was like, I need to get into this house so I can start using it as a rental property, and then I won't have to pay a rent. And like my house and my utilities and stuff are covered by this little side hustle thing, right? I called her and I was like, can you co-sign? Can you just co-sign so that I've got your credit and your whatever? And she's like, we're maxed out, but I did have some money saved for your grad school if you or any of the kids wanted to go to grad school.
Whoa.
And she helped me with the down payment, and it was a loan, but it was a 0 interest loan.
Yeah.
And we were able to throw it down on the house. And it's like,
amazing.
Not everybody has that, but you can always ask, right? Like, what if you know somebody in your community?
What if you know somebody? And I think, again, having some of these like hard conversations with people, like my boss at the time has always said, like, if you ever need anything, I can help you out. I don't think he's going to donate $50,000 to me. I think he would do a personal loan, but you're right. And then of course, there's an incredible amount of like privilege and just being able to have access to that, like in your families. But even I think, people that maybe their families aren't that lucky or have not been able to save that way, because I know families have worked hard. Yeah. I still think being out about what your needs are financially attracts doors to be open versus like, you know what, we can't do it. There's just no way, it's done. Like, okay, so maybe it's not an Airbnb, maybe it's not this house, but by putting out there that you still need a solution to your dream, I think is what kind of keeps this money subject and like your dreams from going back into like a dark place, like keeping it in the light, even uncomfortable, even it might be embarrassing to struggle. There's so many other people doing the exact same thing you are, struggling with it. It's not Facebook, Instagram life. Like, no. It's real.
Yeah, absolutely. It's real. It's real. I have so many questions to ask you about kids.
Very busy.
I know. What kids sounds hard. Is it financially hard? Kids?
Never have enough money to have kids.
Yeah.
You never have enough money to have kids. And you also never have enough money to have kids.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I totally 100%. Thought that. So they're pretty expensive, especially in LA, right?
They are wipe and diaper succubuses. I can't go to Target without dropping an obscene amount of money just on their butts. So that's really, I think what, it's not so much, I think what really impacts people, and especially in women, about having kids is the earning power that is changed once you do have a child, if that takes time for you to step out of your career, whether you're out 6 weeks, whether you're out 6 months, and you have usually a male partner that's continuing to work. I think financially that's probably the biggest effect, is how much the workforce does in like corporate kind of America punishes women by being out of the workforce and having babies. So maybe that's just more of a financial thing that I didn't know was happening until I look back and go, oh damn, like, yeah, that really left me out of these conversations and I wasn't able to get that raise or that position change. But I also think that kids make you think outside the box financially in the best ways. So because if you're tied down at home with them, or they're screaming or throwing peas at you, like you can't be in your 3-piece jumpsuit at that big meeting. So you've got to find ways to maybe earn income while you're working from home. So they impact all things. Yeah. And they are financial succubuses, but I think they can be also financial look outside your box, like your comfort zone.
Well, they say, what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention.
1,000%.
Yeah.
100%. I do not think I would have my daughter is my oldest is the entire reason I opened a private practice, because I realized oh, I don't want to work for somebody else. I don't want someone else to tell me when I can and cannot make money and see my kid. Like, I don't like that. And I loved my boss at the time, loved her. She was super supportive, but I just hated the structure, especially because my daughter gets sick a lot. And then I remember when I had opened my private practice in March, and in April, so just a month of like really opening it up, I got pregnant with my son. And I was like, oh shit. So that really so like my daughter's the reason I opened it, and then my son's the reason I filled it. 100%. I never went back to any kind of corporate job after I had my second child. I was like, deuces. So yeah, out of necessity, I made it happen. And of course, like support from your partner is a big one, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel you. Living in LA with like the cost of rent and everything. I mean, when I moved here, the minimum wage now is $12, but I've been here about 10 years. And when I moved here, minimum wage was $8 an hour. And that's where I started. And it was like, I wanted to be an actress and I wanted to be an artist. And then I was like, okay, $8 an hour is what I make at this coffee shop. I'd have to work 40 hours a week, and that would be what, $320?
So crazy.
And rent was already like $800 a month plus utilities. Yeah, it was just like insane. And I've been thinking about, like, I did a lot of stock investing for a while, and now I'm more into real estate stuff, which is kind of a natural evolution of events, because you can't invest in real estate until you've gotten good at saving and got some chunks of money, unless you bring in other people's money into the deal. If you're like a real hustler, that's fine. But it just is like necessity. It was just like, I'm not going to make enough money doing this, and wanting a flexible job where I could go to auditions and do all this stuff. I was like, I'm going to be a waitress forever if I do not figure out how to do this,
Yeah. So, but do you think, I guess I'm curious, like, how did that, like, living in LA and like I make $8 an hour at a coffee shop, like, why did that not shut you down?
Because I wasn't willing to, let's go deep. Well, I think there was no choice. Like, I had no choice. I really, 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 really wanted to be an artist. And I really, really, really wanted to live in a big city. And I lived my whole life up until that point in Ohio. And there's nothing wrong with Ohio, but I was like suffocating. I had to like, and there's really nothing wrong with Ohio. Still have lots of friends that live in Ohio, but I had to be in a big city. It was just like inside me. I just wanted to be like in the hustle bustle.
You wanted to be out.
I wanted to be out. And we all know, people that are listening to this just audioly, you're missing a lot of good physical cues.
She just wanted to be out. Okay, but like
free like an eagle. That's right.
Subtext.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good storytelling. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there was just no choice. But it's like kids. It's like, you can't take them back. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Oh, you could. People have done
things. It's called abandonment at a certain point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think about kids too, it's important to like put out there, and sometimes I want to scream it from the rooftops, like, it is okay to have kids later. Like, I think there's this pressure after school and college, if you go to college, like, oh, now what do I need to do? I need to like double down and get shacked up and have a baby. And I just think that's also a big mistake financially. Like, live your life. Number one, see if you like that schmuck you married. Number two, you have time to figure out like the financial stuff, like chasing your dream. Maybe I want to be an actress, and then I actually want to go into real estate. And then like that flexibility is taken away when you've got this little life depending on you. So sometimes I'm telling these couples that I'm seeing right now, like, oh, you don't want to fit a baby into this right now, and it feels really hard and not good. Don't do it.
Yeah, 40, just wait.
40 is the new 30. Like, there's so many more reasons to wait than to fill a void of anxiety or being lost or not being sure what you want with a baby. Yeah. And I think that really financially can be a game changer for couples, because you do need 2 incomes to live in this city.
Yeah, especially this city or like Manhattan. There's just like, there's certain, like, if you want to be in this game, there's certain, there's problems. Like it's you have to accept the reality of the cost.
Yes.
And all this insane. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. My friend just lost out on a house. I don't know what it's going to go for, but they said they wouldn't accept any offers below 825. So I think it was, I'll get to the size of the house in a second. So I think it went for 825 or higher because people probably jumped to get it, right? And now they're in escrow. It was 600 square feet. For those of you out there, that's like a tiny house. It was
What city?
Silver Lake. For those of you that don't live in LA, Silver Lake is the new Beverly Hills, is the new
It's like
Malibu.
for like like very hip white people area.
It's the hippest of the hip, hippity hop, hip to the hippity.
It's like Beverly Hills with like a feather in their hat, like with the cool little like those.
Yes, a fedora.
There we go. I wouldn't know.
And there has like like a Captain like Jack Sparrow.
No. Yeah, but like it's for the hip, cool, rich.
Yes,
kids.
The trendiest.
Yeah.
Obviously, because
that's my God.
Like that's almost $1,400 a square foot for 1 square foot. Which is crazy. Yeah, I feel a little nauseous too. So I have a couple questions. First of all, is there anything that's like tugging on your heartstrings that you find like really interesting that we haven't talked about money?
No, not like tugging on my heartstrings. I just think at the end of the day, there is more tied to money than I think we think. Like it has a lot more to do with like not only early experiences, but the way we see ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm always interested in people's worth, like the way they view themselves and the way they value themselves, because I always tend to find that that's correlated with also how they treat money.
That's so
and
interesting.
how they use money as usually like a buffer to avoid like uncomfortable feelings about themselves. So if that sounds like you, I see you, I get it. It's really normal, but like it's also workable. Like it's not a permanent thing.
So go to Aspire Therapeutic Services.
Yeah.
Boom. Well, actually, no, let's talk about that because we were actually intending on talking about that and we didn't really touch it. But like for you, like having your whole life insurance and whatever, how did that affect your self-esteem and the way you navigated the world versus a version of you that had no control over their financial future?
Oh my gosh, I think I felt like, oh, things are possible for me in it, and like I had control, which then allowed me to feel like more safe and more confident and feeling like I had options. Especially I'll never forget sitting in Kyle Shimoda whoop whoop in Hawaii,
Whoop, whoop.
his financial office, and he was like, I was cocktailing at the time when I got my whole life insurance, and he was like, how much do you make a night? And I was like, oh, I make like my rent, which was like $800.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude. Pearl Ultra Lounge. It's not there anymore.
Why did you quit?
Yeah, I don't
Golden
know.
handcuffs. Yeah.
100%. My waitress job. Yeah. But it's like this really like cocktail, like really high-end bar that's not there anymore. But I remember he was like, you really like have a lot of options. Like he's like, you have a lot of possibilities. And I remember thinking, that makes me feel really good that like something I'm doing, I'm earning also then gives me the opportunity to do other things that are congruent with like who I am. Like you were talking about, you want to move to a city, like you just wanted to, it was in you. Like someone else was validating, like, yeah, you have earning power. You can go do more of the things you want. And I was just like, wow, that feels really good. Like it felt very seen, even though I didn't really know what I wanted to do, just that I had the possibilities. So that when I was in relationships later and I'm sitting across from maybe relationships or partners that weren't that healthy for me, but had a lot of money, I didn't feel as trapped. Like when someone was like, I like you, this is going really well. Would you like a Range Rover? Like, do you want me to set you up an apartment? And I'm like, yes, but this doesn't feel good. And like, if I didn't have some of that self-confidence that was inserted by like my ability to have earning power and have options, I think I might have made really bad decisions and been like, well, this doesn't feel good, but you look safe and have something I don't want, so have something I want like financially. And I think it's given me this self-esteem and like kind of bravery to be like, actually, that does seem really nice, but that's probably not the best decision for me. And like not then go replicate that pattern. So yeah, I think that's where like the self-esteem, self-confidence, the way you see yourself does correlate very much with like your opportunities and access and experiences with money.
Do you have, right, piggybacking off of that, do you have any advice for people like women that, I know women that are financially taken care of and in some ways are afraid of starting a business that they've always wanted to start or just doing something that they've always wanted to do. Do you have any like just general therapy advice for someone to like go out and do what their dreams are?
Yeah, I would start out small, like whether it's talking to a Sarah Purdom about your financial stuff, relax, easy. We want you to be able to take the headphones off. Yeah. Shouldn't take
No, my head is like,
yeah. Oh my God, geez. I think starting small and starting out in like just your own backyard. I think you don't need to go have a business plan, but like start Googling some stuff. Like if you have a supportive partner, start figuring out how much money you bring in, like how much money your household brings in, how much you spend, just understanding go access one of your bank accounts and look at where all the money goes, do a budget spreadsheet. Like those are the things so you can just kind of increase your money IQ. I think is one of the best things. But start small, like talk to somebody safe about it. Talk to somebody that you admire or that you're even intimidated by and their financial success. Because all it takes is that one conversation. Google stuff, go into Kinko's and buy that book. I'm sure it's still there. It's probably on Amazon.
There. It's on Amazon.
Yeah,
you don't even have to go to the Kinko's in Hawaii.
We didn't have Amazon when I was at Kinko's. Okay, back off.
Whatever.
I know the skin
You weren't
looks
born.
Great.
It does. You look like you're 12 and a half.
You stop it.
You stop. Did you just hit the camera?
Yeah. Oh my God, I have to talk quietly. It's almost nap time. Not for me, for my son.
No, it's your nap time. We know whose nap time it is. That is good because I'm gonna ask you 2 more questions.
Okay. Yeah, and let's just wrap it up. Time is money.
And then I know time is money. I know you charge a lot for this. Thank you for having me. I know I told you 1 hour, and I've just asked so much. Okay, so we are goal oriented here. So what is your one goal this week? And it can be anything, just to like progress through your life anyhow. You're in quarantine. Do you have one goal for yourself this week?
I am going to look at what I owe my business credit cards, and I'm actually going to expense them out. I pay them off every month, so I don't carry any debt over, but I want to increase my awareness of like what I'm actually spending in my business and where to kind of cut it down because my business is really taking a huge hit during this time. So I want to get smart about how to like decrease some of those costs for my business. So I'm going to painfully go line by line, maybe with a glass of wine and see. Or six makes it a little harder to do that.
Just like line by.
Yeah. Just like the drool. So that's like my goal for this week is to go through like my credit card statements and actually see where the debt specifically was going.
Okay, perfect. That sounds amazing.
So fun.
I mean, I think that's a goal that we could all, I mean, I did the same thing. We looked through everything and I was like, because we're not making money. So I'm just like, we're just not leaving the house. We're not going to spend on this, that, the other. If you had your dream house and there was one special addition or room, for example, Jessica, my pal, wants a salt room. What's that called? Something salt? I want a little aquarium
pool. I thought you said an assault room, and I was like, this just really
That's the
dark.
Podcast.
Yeah.
That's the podcast. It's
I was like,
her fantasy.
My safe word is get me the F out of this podcast. She wants a salt room with like the salt lamps and salt rocks.
Yes.
Okay.
And I want an aquarium that I can swim in. What do you want in your dream house?
I want a covered patio that has a built-in traditional Argentinian barbecue, as well as like this is gonna sound so old lady, don't judge me, but like a reading nook. like somewhere.
Loser.
I know. But like somewhere where I can like literally be watching the kids, like, you know, lighting stuff on fire in the corner of the backyard, but like that's covered. They have like the nice little cushions and a heater because I'm always cold and frigid.
Me too.
And like, yeah. Oh, and internet access unplugged.
Wow.
So like
you know what?
A jazzed out patio, like a real like an extension of our home because we do a lot of entertaining when we're not in the apocalypse.
Yes. That seems very accessible. And I want you
Thanks.
to do it.
It'll be right next to Jessica's assault room.
You're just here through the walls like, punch.
Oh my God. I have to tell you though,
I love that. Yes.
I feel so good talking about financial crap on purpose. Like
Isn't
it
it
feels
great?
good. It does feel good. Like I feel
See?
like super motivated to like go do and dust off some other stuff. Like when's the last time I did my profit and loss statement? Like blah, blah, like, I don't know. I'm trying to, some stuff's going on.
Isn't it exciting?
Good.
It's actually fun, right? And I hope it inspires other people too. And
No,
if you ever want to come back on, I only have a few people to talk to.
Yeah,
so let's do this again.
Yeah, put me at the back of the line where I'm comfortable. And
well, you'll be in the middle of the line soon. If you're in the back, you'll just go, it'll probably be like just you and one other person will go back and forth.
See, right now what you're doing is like the thing you just did with the airport when you had to point out to us that you were at. Yeah. So you just want to reel that back.
I'm just going to reel it in and back.
All right. And that's where we're just going to end.
That's it. And we don't know how, thank you, because I don't know how to sign off. So I really appreciate you. I'm going to stop recording in 3, 2, where can everybody find you? Say it again.
Aspire Therapeutic Services. I'm in Glendale, offering telehealth, but also just offering support right now. But yeah.
Yes. Do you have a website?
I do. You could just Google me, Rachel Facio, and I will pop up. My SEO is slamming.
Perfect. Good. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Oh, that was a good combo. I learned a lot.
I did too. I just love her. That was so great. It's so great having people's fresh perspectives on and getting so much from the conversation. It's just so exciting.
Yeah, I really, that was such relatable with the issues of breadwinner and gender identity and financial health. Like, I want to call her for a session. I'm so glad she's doing things like this. Her info's probably right here or something.
Oh, it's right here. It's Aspire Therapeutic Services again. So you just have that. Also, I loved just the simple stuff of just raising your financial IQ for people that are like afraid, which I think is a lot of us. Anyone, whether you're a man or a woman, tackling your finances or like starting a business or, you know, just like doing a dream that you've been sitting on, just the simple stuff of like, what's your budget? What are these basic things that you can start with? It's always like little steps, little things.
Baby steps. Do the baby steps. Well, maybe in the future we'll have on the site some of the like ways to baby step out very soon, maybe even by now when you're watching this, whoever you are. If you're watching in the time sequence of this coming out, we're going to check in with our weekly goals.
So
I didn't do mine yet. But I'm being gentle with myself because of the current global state of things. And also my CPA is not too concerned. We have extensions and whatnot. But my goal is to complete some of my deduction checklist and send some more 1099s. Like, get on it. It's March. It's end of March. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. We have to be gentle with ourselves. Like my goal was to find an architect and start on that whole process. That is not happening now because now our income has completely halted. So my goal for the week, well, we are actively building a garage out of our carport because we have time for these projects at home. So I think we will lay the cement for like the bottom curb of the garage.
Nice. Okay, that's a pretty like hefty undertaking. You lay cement before?
We've made cement tables.
You laid cement before?
Yo, I lay that cement just like I'm laying Benjamins.
On top of each other?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Hi, baby puppy. That's not a real dog. It's a Muppet.
I know. He's a teddy bear Ewok.
He's a teddy Muppet Ewok.
I love him so much.
I do too.
It's like he just is a good reminder to choose love.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
outside, see an animal.
Yes. And even whether you're spiritual or not, guys, in these times, choose faith or fear, right? If you're in fear, you're not in faith. So take things one day at a time. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. Things will turn around eventually.
And the market always changes.
That's right. That's the nature of the beast, my friends. What goes
I
up
said that
must
like I
come
knew what I
down.
was talking about. Oh, sorry.
You really did. And it was incredible.
But I don't.
But it was insightful. You took a stab at it and you nailed it. Ha, 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 ha. Bye. Love you.
Bye.